Hello, everybody, and welcome to Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
We're going to be talking about books that came out this week and review them, recap them, and tell you what we thought about them. And then we'll jump into some books that are coming out this week that you should check out that we think are cool.
Right. Technically, it's last week.
Yeah, well, that's all right. We're doing the books that came out last week, and then we're going to tell you about the books that are coming out this week. So
yeah.
But we'll tell you what you thought about the books you already read.
Yes, I was like, I didn't open this beforehand. I almost always open my water bottle beforehand because and I didn't. So that was like a ticking time bomb.
That's right. Yeah, those water bottles, man. They give you every ounce that you're looking for.
No, not always. That's what threw me off the last time. I literally had one of those Life Waters that was filled up to here, and I opened it. It was like.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, I mean, I appreciate the gesture, but, you know.
But it was totally lost all over my shirt.
It's true. So, obviously, you are waiting for some books. We're going to jump into them right away. Let's talk first about Justice League #2.
That's right.
Written, of course, by Scott Snyder, with art this time by Kevin Maguire, and, of course, Jim Chung as well. No, it's what's his name? No, I'm thinking of Man of Steel.
Yeah.
No, Justice League was drawn by Jorge Jimenez.
Oh, was it?
And
no,
it looks phenomenal. I really dig Jim Chung's pencils, but if I had to choose, I'd have to pick Jorge Jimenez's art, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, it really is. It's... I don't want to call it like quintessential comic book because that might have like a negative stereotype or stigma to it, but like it's just very heroic looking.
Yeah.
You know, and like when you get the right colorist, like they've got a really strong colorist on his work and it's just bringing it to life. Like I wouldn't say that his pencils are made or broken by the colors, but like this is just elevating them. Yeah, no,
Jimenez needs a brilliant colorist to do those pencils justice because, man, when the colors are good, this book is on fire.
It really is.
Or rather, his art is. This book is fine. Let's talk about it a little bit. So, Justice League #2 jumps right into the battles.
Well, yes and no. It jumps right into, like, very much this did feel like animated series sort of, like, Lex Luthor, like, visiting
the VA hall that his father went to?
Yeah, that his father went to instead of, like, taking care of him and his wife.
Or his sister, yeah.
Yeah, and, like, so he went there. It's almost like, it's so funny because, like, the way they present it is almost like they're dealing with, like, presidential candidate Lex.
Yeah.
But that's not what it is at all. It's just that there was some sort of reunion, and so they invited Lex's dad back, but he'd been passed, so the invitation went to him. Like nothing has ever happened.
Like, also
no
he's
male
never
does.
Like, right, exactly. Or like he's never gotten that before. I mean,
right.
The fact is, I enjoyed it. But it is very out of character for the Luthor that we know.
Yes, but this is the new Luthor. We're going in a very different direction and different in where he came from, not in a Luthor like in terms of Luthors that we've seen.
He's not from the multiverse. This is just a regular Luthor we've seen before, who's just a douche. Who just destroys the VA hall.
He blows it up.
Yep, like a supervillain.
Right, like as though, which he is, I suppose. But
yeah, but he was super. Like we're just throwing everything he was and we were doing in Rebirth just right out the window.
Yeah,
there isn't even like a hint that he was anything other than the power suit wearing evil billionaire Lex Luthor who just wants to stick it to people who have done him the slightest wrong.
Right, which is it's funny though because like. It's because it's Lex, I suppose, or this new old version of Lex that like he's just like I don't care about these these vets, and it's just like they really didn't actually do it. That was your dad's.
Yeah,
decision.
They're probably dead.
I mean, like
the people you're talking about.
Yeah, check out these guys. Like they, I don't know, man. Like they don't seem super exciting. So it's not. It's really on your dad's part.
I just wanted to know why he spent so much time with you idiots instead of me. But let's just blow up your building anyway. Right. Feels like this book. Okay, first impressions of this issue.
This issue was okay. Like I enjoy kind of where they're going with in terms of trying to pull the Justice League that we're used to like together. However, a lot of it near the end kind of felt slapdash.
This felt like it was all over the place for me. I don't know about slapdash, but it definitely felt like I put 3 different issues into one, which people really want because like they're like they're $4 to $6 a piece. So it's like I'd like to get as much story as I can. But it did feel like it was kind of all over the place. Like it was if there are some issues that are guilty of too much setup, this is too much knocking down, too much stuff happening.
Yeah. I mean, like the setup all kind of happens, and it's almost like it's a one shot.
Yes.
Like an in between
or a zero issue that they gave for free on Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah, but like just a lot of concepts here, and they established an entire new Spectrum, like, lantern ring.
Yeah, new core. We'll get into that in a minute. But
yeah, we will. But I mean, like, that's what we're dealing with a lot of things happening. Like, the totality's there, and Lex is doing things, and he's betraying, like, friends and enemies, and then we got the lanterns, and it's just like, I almost felt like I needed to get the string board out, but then, like, it was so simple in a sense that I was like, I don't really.
What happened? Not much, but a lot of that not much.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of hard to keep track.
I agree.
But yeah, so we meet up with Jon Stewart finally.
Yeah. I mean, we saw him briefly, but like I guess when we saw him,
but he's been on the cover twice. Let's get moving with his character.
I sort of just assumed he was part of the League, and now they're just like, but he's not.
No, he was not. He's a prison. He's a cop car driver, and he's a prison transporter.
Yeah,
He's moving a prisoner to a prison planet.
Yeah, well, I don't even know if I assume that he caught him.
Yeah, he defeated him, and then he threw him into a spaceship, which he suddenly needs. Like now. I didn't realize
Green Lanterns to bring him. It was just easier.
Create a bubble, but whatever. All right, let's move on. But
maybe he just likes it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true.
I mean, if you had the opportunity to
fly a ship,
a spaceship, you might want to do it every once in a while.
I would.
Be like, yeah, a spaceship.
Right? Totally. So Jon's driving this prisoner around. He gets the business from Batman.
Yeah. So like he's driving it around, and like he lets the Green Lantern prison know that he's on his way, and they're like, we'll get the cell ready. And while that's going on, all of a sudden, like, Man-Thing shows up, and he's just like, hey.
No, it's Swamp Thing.
Oh, Swamp Thing. Wow.
Right. I know. It's been a while.
It's just so many things. Swamp Thing shows up, and he's just like, hey, I have a message from Batman. Which is so funny, because it's just like, hold the phone for a second.
Yeah, stop what you're doing.
I'm not going to just project Batman.
No.
Hey, hi.
I'm going to become Batman.
I'm Swamp Thing. Right? It's fun. It's interesting. Like, it's cute. Like, it's just a little, like, pop in from him, like, hey,
don't forget, I'm also in Justice League Dark, on sale soon.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, they do mention that the Justice League Darkers, or the Justice League Dark...
Yeah, Justice League Dark.
Folk. Yep. I was trying to make it into, like, a leaguer kind of thing.
Oh, I see.
Are there helping out with this issue that's going on, which is that the Totality was there, and, like, Killer Croc, which from the Suicide Squad...
What's the Totality?
The Totality is that thing that hit the planet last issue.
Right. Which, just to recap.
Yeah, the Totality is basically...
an energy surge that blasts out of the source
wall? Or it's the possibility of, like, fixing everything.
Right.
We're not really certain because, like, clearly... different parties involved with this whole thing have different thoughts on what it is. And it just seems like nobody's certain what it is.
Until... Jon hears the psychic scream of Vandal Savage's death throes.
But even still, he's not sure. Like, he's just like, if anyone would know, it might be him, but, like, he could be wrong.
Right, but he does say he would have called the League together to have undone what he suggested they do, which is leave it alone.
Yeah, but now he's thinking, he's just like, he might be wrong.
Right. Well, I mean, maybe I was a little bit hyperbolic in the earlier issue.
So he, so the Totality's there. There was, like, this kind of shell over it, in a sense. Killer Croc goes in.
Yeah, Killer Croc goes in.
And then, like, when he comes out, he's evolved. He's changed.
Yeah.
He's different. He's like he looks like one of the, like, Dr. Wu or Dr. whatever. What was his character's name? B.D. Wong's character from Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Took him and mixed him with a bunch of other dinosaurs, and this is what came out. And it's just like, ta-da!
Right. I mean, and it's really, like, it's funny you should use the term evolution, because, like, this really is where Killer Croc's going to go from, like, in the foreseeable future, because every time somebody wants to draw Killer Croc, they draw something else. They just go like, like, remember when in Hush, when Killer Croc shows up and he looks like a dinosaur man, and they were like, what? And he's like, oh, I'm being mutated, but I just really genuinely wanted to draw a cool dinosaur man.
Right, it's like, I guess I really should have just called him Indominus Croc.
Yes.
Because, like, that's what he looks like to me.
Straight up looks like a dinosaur man.
And so the League's having a difficult time fighting him, because, like, it's almost like his evolution isn't set, and so, like, he keeps changing as they're fighting him. So, like, he has, like, oxidized kryptonite breath.
Well, he's evolving to face the problem he's faced with.
Yes, exactly. So while this fight's going on, Batman's talking
to Jon Stewart.
And he's just like,
you gotta join the team, man.
Yeah, we're gonna need you. Like,
I've never seen Batman plead more than when Scott Snyder's writing it. Batman's like, yo, man, I know that we haven't ever shared panel space in, like, a long time.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say that we're old friends, and I need you to join the League.
Yeah, I need you here because you have, like, insight.
Yeah. whatever.
And like he keeps calling him the architect, or an architect, and like, but he's regardless of job, but like he's alluding to that almost in the sense of like, you know, soldier versus architect, like calling upon his creative nature, which is funny because since this is based on the Justice League cartoon show, that was one of your gripes, was how uncreative.
Yes, because of the limitations of the animation, whenever you saw the Green Lantern, one of the only Green Lanterns you saw in Justice League Unlimited, the cartoon, who can create anything with his mind, he just creates, like, beams.
Right.
Just, like, he just blasts green energy. It's like, create anything interesting. Make something fun. The animators might want to animate that. They might want to draw something cool, but instead it's like... No, he's the most uncreative Green Lantern I've ever seen.
Right, and like that I thought was funny. Just what this was meant to be based in, and then what, So, basically Jon seemingly...
Like, he wants to. Like,
but he doesn't, he doesn't.
Batman, like, gives him a hard time for the rest of the book. The whole conversation takes place over the entire book. Before we jump into that, I wanted to also say, when we saw Swamp Thing, he doesn't look like that god-awful new design he has.
Yeah.
And if you're not familiar, they redesigned Swamp Thing to look like Alan Moore.
That's right.
Where his, like, his roots are his Alan Moore beard, and he has the Alan Moore hair, and I'm like, get bent.
Because Alan Moore cares about that.
Yeah. Like, is that an FU to Alan Moore? Is that an homage? Either way,
know.
Dumb.
Yeah.
So anyway, but it doesn't, but him and his like, no, I'm drawing Swamp Thing, probably for, like, I don't get to draw him very often.
Yeah.
I'm going to draw the Swamp Thing I want to draw.
Right. So essentially, they inevitably they defeat Killer Croc.
Yes.
But during that fight, we discover or learn more about the fact that the Flash is having a hard time utilizing the Speed Force.
Yes.
And he assumes that a villain called the Turtle is attempting to tap into a force that the Turtle believes exists called the Still Force.
Yeah, Still Force, yeah. If there's going to be a Speed Force, there must be a Still Force.
Right, which is funny because Jon Stewart mentions it later on in the book.
Does.
Like, as though he's like, no, that's a thing.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah.
The Still Force exists.
That thing that, like, you never heard of? Yeah, it's real.
It's
real.
real.
In this. And we're going to be using it in this book.
Right.
And if you think we're not going to fight the Turtle, you're wrong.
Right, so, you know, Flash spends a lot of his time building a car so that the Titans can use it to fight the Turtle and take care of that.
Yes.
Because he's just like, I got bigger things to do. I got to help you guys. And he's immediately benched.
Right.
Because he can't use his powers reliably. Like, you can't have a speedster.
He's tripping over himself.
Yeah, and whose entire power is utilizing the Speed Force, who can't use it consistently.
Your whole job is using that thing.
Right, and it's one thing if you're a solo hero and you're doing that and, like, you're
That's
putting
the obstacle.
Yes, but there's another thing when you're part of a team and your team's relying on that. Because if you stumble, that could cost someone else's life.
Yeah.
So I get it. Like, they totally bench him, but it's just so funny because he works so hard to, like, put this car together, and then they're like, you're not going.
Right. Oh.
Right? So
if only we had 4 more Flashes.
This is the one we picked. We already got the ID cards. We already, like, printed up his little name tag over his locker.
You look just like Wally. We could just literally switch the names.
It's
just
okay.
Print out a sticker that goes over Barry Allen.
Look, that's crass. They're not going to do that. So before we get into, like, what he's benched from, I think we should talk about Lex's own little, like, Legion of Doom. His little cabal he's got going on.
Mm-hmm.
Where he arrives at essentially what I like to call Rapture.
Yeah.
Because it's an undersea place that was built like 100 years ago, and Black Manta has no idea it exists. And, like, I'm just like,
if only it was built upon, like, libertarian philosophy and had, like, all kinds of crazy cool, like, Art Deco designs in it.
And then Lex is just like, you know, would you kindly? So they're under the sea because he's there because essentially exactly. Mm-hmm. No affiliation with that.
No.
They're there because he's collecting these, like, 7 forces, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going to need them, and, like, secretly they've each been, like, seeking them out in their lifetimes, but they didn't realize it.
Yeah.
And so, like, he's sent Sinestro out to seek one of those, and he already has one in the form of a baby.
Yeah, a baby.
A babby.
There's a literal baby, which... and the baby is raised by Luthor and is surrounded by these monsters.
Yeah.
And you're like... There's no way that this baby would be cared for, but okay, let's go with a baby. Maybe the baby. No. But by the way, really quick, Kevin Kruger says, hey y'all, I got a package coming to you soon. Have fun. Thank you very much, Kevin.
Thank you so much.
And Danny Blackston TV saying, thanks for being one of my favorite comic YouTube channels. JL versus LO Justice League versus Legion of Doom is going to be epic.
Yeah,
I agree.
That I am the most excited to see, definitely. Especially the way that they're building this all up. Mm-hmm. Where, like, Yeah, I'm very excited for
Yeah.
it. But
So they have a baby.
So there's this baby. I assume that Black Manta's just very
busy.
No, he just takes care of it.
Oh, okay.
Because he's the least likely to do that.
That's true. Yeah, that'd be amazing to see Black Manta taking care of a baby really well.
Right?
Yeah.
He's just like, what are you doing?
What? There's a baby. We're not monsters.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just villains.
He's like, have you never, like, he's watching Grodd hold him. He's like, have you never held a baby?
Yeah.
What? Give me that.
I've held a kitten.
Aw.
R.I.P. Coco.
Yeah, exactly. But he indicates that
the baby is somebody.
The baby's somebody, and Grodd is like, is this who I think it is? And it's
right.
just like,
who's the baby?
And it's like a green, like, thing with it. I don't know. Part of me is like, is it Vandal Savage?
Right? I immediately assumed it was just a reborn Vandal Savage so that we don't have to kill Vandal Savage.
Right?
I hope not. I hope that's like, because I don't care. Like, I've never cared about Vandal Savage.
Yeah.
He's like a cool idea that has never worked.
The only reason I thought that was simply because of the fact that, like, Martian Manhunter brought him up again at the beginning of this issue, and I don't know if that's Snyder sneaking in that, like, we're going to need him, and, like, he's gonna, like, accelerated growth, or, like,
right.
Or, like, Martian Manhunter's going to have to, like, go in. I don't know. I don't know. It could be anything. The baby could truly be anything, but that's one of the big mysteries here is who's the baby?
Who's the baby? Could be the turtle.
What is it? What is
trapped in the still force?
Right? Who at DC has this obsession with, like, having babies?
I
like,
don't know. Yeah, like, make a baby.
Yeah.
Like Baby Darkseid.
Yeah.
This random baby.
Yeah. And baby.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But while, like, you know, Luther's kind of laying out his plan about how he sends Sinestro out to find, like, this energy, and, like, they got the baby and stuff like that. All of a sudden, Cheetah's like, something's wrong here. Mm-hmm. Like, I know lying when I hear it.
Yeah.
And you're lying. And so she, like, swipes at his face.
And it rips off his face in a really, really well-rendered image.
It's so spectacular. In fact, like, the teeth were, I was just like,
oh, no. Oh. And then he starts talking to them.
Yeah.
But anyway, it reveals that Lex Luthor's a life model decoy.
Yeah, he's a Lexbot.
It's
basically.
a Lexbot, yeah.
Which is, like, one of two things. Cheetah knew it was a robot. Cheetah didn't care.
Or didn't care. Or both.
Who knows?
Either way, but it was a cool image of Cheetah being neat.
Yeah, I appreciated that. Like, you know, that right now, like, Lex is giving her nothing. So, like, she's a little more, like, looking in on this, being like,
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I also love the fact that her ears go back as she's thinking about this.
Like a cat.
Yeah.
Like an adorable cat.
I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
And that Lex is secretly somewhere else, which then brings us back to the plot that's going on with the Justice League, which is that basically
they're going to send Superman and Martian Manhunter into the totality.
Yeah, into this, like, shelled dome energy thing, because they realize that, like, only Martian Manhunter and Cal's, like, genetic makeup can handle it for X amount of time. Not permanently.
Plus they have those cool suits on.
Well, yeah, they put the suits on. They've got a bunch of different, like, stop things here.
Yes.
First of all, the genetics, they'll last longer as is. They're going to put the suits on, and then they got one more thing.
Yes.
What is it?
Well, I don't know.
You don't remember?
No, I don't.
I
was going to say, I thought you were going to be talking about the secret reveal.
That's the secret reveal.
Oh, they got Batman.
Yeah, and not just Batman. They also have Hawkwoman.
Yeah.
Kendra.
It's Hawkgirl.
Yeah. And they've miniaturized them.
Yeah.
And they're in their bodies.
Right. They're inside their bloodstream. Yeah. I'm sorry. I thought you meant like there was another...
No.
Yeah, they got little Batman.
Yeah.
Thanks to the Atom and his technology, they made little Batman go inside of Superman.
Yep.
And what's it called? That's like Batman's suit.
Yeah.
Like Superman.
Yeah, he's just wearing him.
Yeah.
Which is, like, the weirdest thing ever.
And he says something to that effect. But
Yeah.
Superman's like, ugh, don't say that again.
It's like, just, you have to stop.
How weird.
Yeah, just don't.
Yeah, so Batman's going into the totality, too.
Yes, and so is Hawkgirl in Martian Manhunter, because Martian Manhunter asks her to go because he feels there's going to be a battle, and she is a great warrior and should go in there. Mm-hmm. So that's the whole thing. And, like, meanwhile, like, the Flash is like, I should go. I'm fast.
Right.
Like, but your powers aren't working consistently.
Yeah,
dude.
which, by the way, like, that's come out of nowhere. Like,
yeah.
we don't want Flash to solve this problem or go back in time. Let's nerf him a little bit.
Right, or it could just be maybe they're doing, like, something else. Like, this is, like, a lead up to something else.
Well,
I don't know.
Hopefully he'll do something. But,
right.
By the way, Silvery Cricket, Snyder tends to understand what fans want to see, like seeing Luthor as a hero. So do you suspect he was playing for the good team all along? No.
No, I think considering Snyder's commitment to trying to make this more like the Justice League cartoon show, I think we are going to see Luthor be a villain unless there's something that's above his control, upon which he'll play nice with the good guys for the greater good of his own survival.
There's no way he's not going to want to retread the series finale of Justice League Unlimited, where Batman and Lex Luthor are teaming up.
Yeah.
But also, I think what we see is what we get. This is actually evil Luthor.
Yeah. Potential. I mean, like, who knows? Who knows, honestly? But it feels like to me right now that that's the way they're going to go.
Yeah. So Jon's being convinced to join the League when all of a sudden he bumps into an old villain.
Yeah, he bumps into Sinestro, who is now wearing this, like, violet color.
Yeah.
Because what Luthor sent him to find out was a thing that he's always desperately wanted, which was, like, the ultraviolet spectrum core thing.
Yeah.
And so he creates a new core, and it absorbs, in a way, or it infects Jon Stewart. And so, like, Jon Stewart is now an ultraviolet lantern. He's like the leader of this core, he says, which is funny. I'm like, well, wouldn't Sinestro
be that? But whatever.
All right, fine, whatever. Maybe he calls himself something else, like
ruler and king and tyrant.
Exactly. I think we should also note that the totality
is encased in a big severed head.
It like grew a head over itself.
Yeah.
And like Batman ran like facial recognition among all known faces.
Yes, I have a database of all the faces everywhere across the multiverse.
And nothing matches. However, people keep saying how it looks familiar.
Yeah.
Right?
So we're definitely gonna, I mean, like, obviously the totality is a creature or an entity.
Right.
And this is just a part of it.
I mean, aren't there a lot of faces that were part of the Source Wall? I was like,
yes.
Is it connected
it's
to
probably
that?
one of the faces that got blasted off.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I don't know. We'll see where that goes. But it's a cool image.
Yes.
This, like weird, almost, like, old, alienish looking head. Like, you're, like... there is a familiarity to it, but it could just be the way that it's drawn. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's neat. So Jon and Superman make their way into...
the totality?
Yeah, or at least they start to go in there. And while that's going on, Jon Stewart arrives back where...
see how there's a lot going on?
Yeah, where Wonder Woman and Aquaman and the Flash are basically monitoring everything that's going on, and he attacks them.
Yes, Jon Stewart, the ultraviolet lantern, arrives.
Yes.
And he's seemingly mind-controlled. Or at least he's, like, influenced by this power.
By the power. I don't know. So that's happening, and then the last thing that they reveal is that while Cheetah and Black Manta and Grodd
and the baby
were under the sea with that Lex bot, Lex was secretly on another mission for himself where he is also inside Superman.
Yeah, he's shrunk down and he's inside Superman too. So we're going to get an inner space-esque fight between little Batman and little Luthor inside Superman. Yeah. So yeah, this took forever to get through because this book has everything going on. Like, I'm not even going to do a recap for humor. I'm just going to say, like, this book has a lot going on.
Yeah.
It was easy to follow if you're reading the book.
Yes.
Like, if you're reading it, just sitting there reading it, it's pretty easy to follow. A lot happening in the issue. If it didn't have incredible art, which it does, this would have felt kind of annoying. But because Jimenez's art is a pleasure to look at, it was a complete delight. Yeah. I really dug the crap out of Justice League number 2.
No, I did too.
Despite how friggin' weird and, like, all over the place it was.
Yeah. No, it is and it isn't. I think we're going to get all this sorted out. It's almost like it's just a big ball of string right now. And we just got to kind of...
unravel it? Well,
yeah, and I'm wondering... at the end, if we'll look back on this issue and be like, wow, I can't believe they set all this stuff up.
Yeah.
Or if at the end...
I doubt it. That never happens whenever I read anything by Scott Snyder.
All right. Fair enough.
That happened one time, and it was called Batman the Black Mirror.
Okay.
That was it.
All right.
It's good.
What do you want to go on to next?
I guess we'll talk about Man of Steel.
It doesn't have to. We can go to something else.
All right. Let me talk about... let's talk about Doctor Strange. Give us a little bit about Doctor Strange.
Okay, so...
because I didn't read Doctor Strange, but you did.
Written by Mark Waid with art by Jesus Saez.
Yes, Jesus Saez, I think.
I'm just going to let you say the names.
I don't know.
You take it.
I've been saying it like that since you showed
taking the
up.
ball and throwing it at you. It's all yours.
Doctor Strange number 2, written by Mark Waid with art by Jesus Saez.
Nice.
This is part 2 of the Space Doctor Strange saga.
Yes.
But it's also keeping the legacy numbering beneath it. I don't remember what issue number it is, but it really doesn't matter.
No.
What does matter is that they're keeping the legacy numbering.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I really appreciate that because it makes it easier for, like, collecting to happen.
Yes. Well, kind of, except for all the chicanery they had to pull in order to make the numbering work.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to hit milestones artificially without just, like, naturally going towards them or relaunching them. Mm-hmm. So, like, this is Doctor Strange number, like, 390, whatever the hell.
Yeah, I'm actually just trying to pull up what number the legacy number is.
Right, but good luck finding 302 issues before that, because, good lord...
yeah. No, it's true.
But yeah, so you were lukewarm on this series.
Yeah, and I still kind of am, honestly. I do think that for anybody who's just coming in to this book and to this whole thing, it's legacy number 392.
There you go.
So
we want to get to 400.
We're approaching 400, which is like milestone, not milestone. But this book kind of strikes me as Mark Waid heard Jason Aaron's pitch and then took it, but made something very different.
Yes, he's like, ooh, Doctor Strange, no magic, I like it, okay. But what if he went into space?
Kind of. And again, like, it's not bad. It's just kind of like, cool. Like, here's a book.
Yeah.
Like,
that was exactly his series before.
Yeah, I don't... Oh, sorry. I don't feel like this is ever going to become one of my favorite runs, but I'm still, like, enjoying it in a sense for it's, like... There's something simple about it. I don't mean that in a, like, negative way, but just in a, like, here's a Doctor Strange story.
Right.
And unfortunately, he doesn't have magic right now, and that's just how it is. We basically left off in the last issue where Strange realized he couldn't use magic anymore, but other magic users on Earth could use it, so he tried to, like, figure out what's going on, turned to Tony Stark. Stark suggested he look beyond our planet to find other magic users, and maybe they would be able to help. Instead of going to the multiverse, which I'm just like, okay. So he goes off in a spaceship that Tony Stark creates for him, gets knocked off course, lands on this planet. And by the way, I don't actually remember if it's in the narrative, because there's a lot of narration in this book. A lot
I was surprised to see that they kept it up.
A lot of narration.
And it's third-person narration?
Yeah.
It's like, the doctor wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Third-person past tense narration.
A lot of narration there. But I can't remember if they mentioned it in the narration or if it's just in the little, like, summary, because I read the summary at the beginning just to see what they said about it.
Sure.
And they mentioned that the planet he lands on doesn't have a word for magic. It's like they don't accept magic at all. Mm-hmm. Which I was just like... Remember the Empirical?
Yeah.
It's like the reverse of the Empirical.
Right.
Where it's just an all-science planet. That's it. They're just all science all the time, right? And so, like, they have been, like, experimenting on Doctor Strange and trying to figure out what he is. And, like, Strange has been trying to, like, use any sort of symbols or anything like that to try to, like, to help himself out in any way, shape, or form. He can't. Inevitably, another, like, prisoner is put into his cell. It's, like... This is weirdly like one of those like comic book kind of tropes where it's like, here's a convenient thing that happens.
Right.
And he gets thrown into the cell with this female alien who turns out is an arcanist.
Okay.
Not an archaeologist.
No.
An arcanist or arca whatever. And her whole thing, her whole shtick is she travels the galaxy trying to find like arcane artifacts.
Right.
Do you remember that episode of The Next Generation or Star Trek The Next Generation with that chick, that archaeologist that like...
That Picard like hooks up with?
Yeah.
On Risa?
That's kind of what she reminds me of.
Oh, no.
Sort of. She's like fast talking, shows us a plan. She like immediately like is like asking him to use parts and he like, does he have this, that, and the other thing? And he's like, what are you doing and who are you?
Right.
And like this is where this is kind of cute. If we hadn't just had a character in Zelma. I have always called her Velma.
Right.
Simply because of Scooby-Doo.
Scoob and the gang. Yeah.
Thanks, Scooby-Doo. You've totally ruined my ability.
Right.
To recall names. In Zelma, in that she, is like, oh, like a quirky, sort of sarcastic character, except that she knows about magic.
Right.
So, like, there we have, like, the dividing line between these two characters.
Yeah, because Zelma was like, oh, no, I don't know how. Like, she's the ride-along character.
Zelma showed up because she had an issue.
Right.
And, like, so she found Doctor Strange. This character just kind of gets dropped into his lap in a way, or he gets dropped into her lap. It doesn't matter. Laps are happening. And she recognizes that, A, he has technology. B, she recognizes some of the symbols that he has created, and she's like, oh, you know something about magic.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, here's the thing. I know you have universal translators. You can understand what I'm saying.
Yep.
I'm going to use a bunch of your suit stuff. She just starts taking things out of the suit that, like, Iron Man made for him.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Cool. Hope I don't need that.
Yeah. And she ends up making, like, a technomancy wand, which I was just like, all right.
Yeah.
So it's like, she's like, when you don't have access to XYZ, sometimes you can use science to reach the same effect, or like to substitute for these things.
Yeah.
Which is like, I get why Wade selected him to talk to Iron Man, because he wanted to bring that science element in, because I think we might see a bunch of science versus magic in this. Or this could be the end of it, because they end up leaving this planet at the end of this like whole book. Not book, but whole book, but this issue. And so Strange utilizes his like universal translator,
which Stark gives him, I think.
Yeah. So like she augments it so that he can talk like the creatures here.
Okay.
And like he acts like he's a guard and that they've escaped, and so she blows a hole in their like electric bar things and like knocks the guys over with her little technomancy wand, which looks like a old fashioned like hot water bottle kind of thing.
Okay.
And he's just like, I can't believe you've done that. I'm like, right. And then she mentions what she was there for, and that like she had been on the outskirts of town where like magic doesn't or did used to exist potentially, but like they put anything that wasn't sciencey out there like thousands of years ago.
Okay.
And basically there's this big gemstone, and it's like this old like god demon thing, and like Strange recognizes immediately when she draws the symbols that were on it. He's like, oh man, that's cool, because that like gives the user like one crazy wish, that like one like amazingly powerful like scary wish. He's like, if I could get that, I bet I could get my magic back.
I wish I had magic back.
Yeah. He's like, we should totally do that. So she goes and she steals it back. Okay. And he has it, and they're about to like make their great escape to her ship, and he's just like, hold on, and he tries to like do the spell, and he's just like, and it's like the scene in Star Wars or like Empire when he's just like,
yeah, when he thought he fixed the hyperdrive.
Yeah, and it's just like, no magic.
It's not my fault.
Yeah, very much so. He's just like, okay, and then immediately the guards find them. Strange realizes too, while he's waiting for her to steal the gem, that this race, upon stealing some of his genetics, I hate this trope, pulled up memories from there. I'm like, you had him on the table. You just looked in his brain. You took out some memory. Just do that.
No, I pulled it from his DNA.
And they realize that like he's not just a primate. He's not just like an unevolved, thing, because like they're so great.
Right.
That he comes from the planet Earth, or like this place, and that like they should go there and just take over and take their stuff, because they've got some stuff that they might want. And he's just like, I have to stop them, because like they've never flown beyond or like done space travel, but now they are.
They don't have access to warp, so they shouldn't be allowed to do that.
They have like they built this giant warship all of a sudden. It was just like, come on. And he's like, oh, I probably should stop them. And she's like, we have to go.
Yeah.
You can't stop them.
Right.
Unless you want to jump out of my ship and like whatever. So
and float home.
Yeah, so they get on the ship, and like she's about to break atmosphere, and she's just like, hold on, and he opens up her like rear bay, and he takes the gem and he jumps out the back of it, and she's like, I don't think anybody was that wasn't like a challenge.
Yeah,
that was a humorous.
Okay, haha. That's awesome.
And then he casts the spell again, and it works this time.
Oh.
And he makes it so there's this huge barrier over the planet. And then she catches him and they leave, and she's like, what the hell was that?
Oh, did he wish for the planet to be protected?
Yeah, he wished for their planet for them to not be able to leave.
Oh.
And he's just like, I remember that this gem, you can't be like a passive man to use it. You have to have like adrenaline. So he leapt out the back of the ship.
That's what it was? It was adrenaline?
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, he's just like, now that I've had a taste for magic, like, let's go get some more, because she doesn't know where to go now. And she's like, okay.
Well, he needs to collect artifacts to make him have more magic?
I don't know. Like I said, like, this seems like this is fine.
Right.
This is for me, this is going to become just a kind of sort of mediocre Doctor Strange. That's where it feels like it's going. Now, who knows? Issue 3, issue 4 could come out. It could completely change my mind.
I've been surprised before, yeah.
Yeah, so like I'm not going to say that definitively, but right now it's feeling like this is not going to be one of those like great world building, like, This isn't going to be like the Planet Hulk of Doctor Strange. Right, which is fine. I mean, we've had a lot of things lately that were supposed to like redefine characters, and like maybe I don't want that right now. Right. It just feels so much like a rehash, where it's not quite it, obviously, but we are dealing with a loss of magic, a new companion essentially, and science.
Right.
which we have all kind of seen in the Aaron run. Now, of course, that was some time ago, so for the first time, if you're just jumping into
this might feel fresh and new. Yeah.
And that's fine. I'm not saying not to read it. I'm just saying,
but if you ever decide to, like, go back and read it all in order, you might go like, oh, wow, that again, huh?
Yeah, and it's funny. Someone on Twitter asked me if they had to pick up Damnation in order to jump into this, and I was like, nah.
No.
Nah, you're good.
Yeah. You're don't pick up the... don't pick that up at all. Just in general.
Yeah, you could probably just pick this up and just keep going.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Oh, no. No, Damnation has nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
And I pretty much can guarantee that Wade will not be drawing on any ideas that either Hopeless or Kate's used.
No, I don't think so. Like I said, this is just like a sort of fun, high-flying thing that almost seems like it's based on something that was on a grander scale.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to keep reading it.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Man of Steel number 3.
4.
4, God.
Yeah, this one was hard for me to keep these two issues separate because I missed 3 last week. And
right.
we didn't end up doing the show because you were in Denver.
I was, yes.
So I was just like, I'll read them together, and that was a mistake and a half because like they're so short.
Yeah.
That they pretty much just kind of
blended
books into one book. So I'm like,
Yeah, if you read Bendis books 2 at a time, it will feel like one issue.
Yeah, and this really did, because in particular, this feels like... I know this is like a mini-series leading up to...
Yeah, 6-issue mini-series leading up to the new status quo for Superman that Bendis is creating.
6 issues, I think, could have been fewer. And
it's always that case.
That's what this feels like to
House
me.
of M was 8 issues, could have been 4. Like,
right.
Secret Invasion was, I don't remember, 7 issues. I think it could have been done in 3.
Yeah.
It's just,
So
padding.
So this is written by Brian Michael Bendis with art by Kevin Maguire and a couple of pages by Jason Fabok.
Come of the same pages, in fact.
Yes. Now, that I do appreciate in a sense because
it reminds you about what the hell happened.
Off of
Can you imagine reading this in the trade, though? And being like, hey, it's that full page that Jason Fabok drew 2 issues ago. Again! Thanks!
At least they're pretty.
They are pretty. Jason Fabok's great.
Yeah, I wish... I don't know if it was the coloring for Maguire or the inking for Maguire's art.
It's the fact that Maguire's older. Maguire used to be really awesome. As it stands, it's still pretty cool. There's a couple of great moments in this issue because I really dig the Maguire style.
Yeah.
But the older it gets, the more different his style has morphed from his old Justice League America run to now, Justice League International as well.
For me, it felt like it was the inking. It felt the inking was a little heavy-handed, and that, I think, kind of detracted.
I thought it was the coloring. I thought they were trying to do more inking with the colors. Like there's some weird issue with the shading, and it happens in Maguire's pencils. I don't get it.
Right.
But it feels like they did cut and paste with Superman's face.
Yeah, I could definitely
And I'm like,
that.
no, he's really good at this.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, it's interesting the how bad that issue is, but how cool everything else is in the book. There's a lot of cool moments in this issue that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, okay.
But so in the last couple of reviews, I think I said, like, drop Man of Steel 2 if you think it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still on board for that, because, like, it's not going to get any... Like, issue 3, I saw a lot of people go, like, whoa, I hated issue 2, but I'm kind of on board for issue 3 because of the status quo. Now that we're on issue 4, we can talk about it. Kandor's dead. Rogelzar destroyed it.
Yeah.
And whatever.
Yeah, that was like, I was like, wow, really?
Yeah, you're gonna just destroy Kandor now? That's how we're gonna do
almost
this?
off panel.
Yeah.
Like, you just kill Kandor and all of its people, presumably.
Yeah. But, Rogelzar, Rogelzar is clearly the villain of this book.
Yeah.
And it's Bendis' big push for this status quo.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that he's already, like, talking about how he's resurrecting another villain and how, like, excited he was about that. But in any case, it's basically just Superman and Supergirl fighting Rogelzar in...
Hang on, I don't have the wrong one.
Yeah, and getting revenge for Kandor. And trying to figure out more about, like, where he is and where he's from and why
like, what his whole shtick is there. Which is funny, because, like, Rogelzar has these, like... He's, like, filled with blind rage, but then occasionally he's
like, totally chill.
He's, like cogent.
There's a moment where Superman and he are, like, alone on a planet, and where are they?
They're in the Fortress of Solitude, in the ruins of it. And like,
he's like, hey, what's going on? Listen, like, let me give you a little bit of background about who I am. And I'm like, what? You, like, you look like...
Yeah.
Like, Atrocitus.
Yeah.
And you act like you have no personality.
Yeah.
And so, and I think that's kind of the benefit, is like, well, I can do anything with him then.
Yeah. It's just, it's interesting. Like, there's almost too much build up with Rogol Zar. Like, you just created this character, I get it. So you need to do some sort of build for us to understand who he is and where he comes from.
Yeah.
And at the same time, though, like, we're taking so long to get there.
Yes.
And Rogol Zar's whole shtick about how he knows Jor-El better than Kal-El knows.
Yes.
How he destroyed Krypton. I'm like, cool. You keep mentioning this. Could we see some evidence?
Right. No. But we can see Jor-El.
Yes, which is funny because when he showed up in the previous fabric, when we see that like silhouette, I was just like, oh, it's Metron.
Yeah. He got killed by Dr. Manhattan.
I know, but I thought he was back, and I was just like, oh, that would explain where he is. He took Lois and John like out of time.
Right, right.
Like, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's just Jor-El.
It's just Jor-El. It's Mr. Oz.
Yeah.
Remember Mr. Oz? Remember the Oz effect? Remember that story when Mr. Oz met Lois and John?
Yep.
And then Bendis didn't read it?
Yeah.
And so Lois and Mr. Oz meet again for the first time.
I don't know if it was for the first time because, like...
Does she know who he is?
I kind of, and like...
What does she say to him?
I don't remember. Let's go in here. I could tell you were his father. He doesn't know how to knock either. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I don't know who he is, even though we've met before.
Well, because Jor-El says, like, hello, Kal, Lois, young John. I'm Jor-El. I'm Cal's father.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, we know. There was a whole story arc where you tried to kidnap Superboy.
Maybe he's a different one.
That would be really weird. That'd be weird that there's an identical looking one with the same exact origin, with the same mangled face.
It's just...
Now, Bendis does love the misdirection, so it could be a hologram, or like maybe it's a Rogol Zar projection or something. But,
right.
Like, it's really weird that it's very specifically this, especially because like all the stuff from Rebirth are only in the Fabric pages.
Right, and now
like,
it's not possible that he's referencing that very specific time period, and maybe that's happening during that time.
Yeah,
and like we're so far in the past that like we're thinking that this is something that happened after the Mr. Oz effect. Maybe this is something that happened during.
Yeah, it could be that it's we don't know. You know what? Let's reserve judgment. I'm because it's never been the case where Bendis has actually just never read the book and just read the wiki or watched one of Rob's videos. So, I mean, like, look, I mean, you know, they're convenient.
Yes, of course. So, this book pretty much is just a big, like you said, like a big battle between
Supergirl, Superman, and
Rogol Zar in the city, and like Superman recognizes that like Zar's doing this on purpose so that, you know, Kal will be responsible for kind of destroying the city, so he's trying to like get him out and
get
like
him away from the city.
Inevitably, like Superman's kind of put out of commission, and he wakes up to find that
Green Lantern showed up and cleaned up for him.
But it's Hal Jordan.
It is Hal Jordan.
And he's there, and he's just like, hey, and he's talking to the two characters who were in DC Nation.
Yes.
Like as though to be like, hi, I didn't forget that we.
Yeah, remember when that happened in DC Nation with Jim Lee pencils? Like,
yes.
Yeah, the two people who saved Superman or pulled him away from him.
those two, like the diner waitress and the patron there.
Exactly.
And Superman comes too, and he's like, they basically have a conversation where he's just like, I'm here to help. Let me help. Yeah, let me give you a hand.
Also, where are Lois and John?
Yep, and he bails on that question. Yep. Like as soon as that question's asked, he's just like, nah.
He's like, ooh.
Nah. And that also Superman mentions or remembers very distinctly that Rogol Zar mentioned something about a cleansing.
Yes.
And so that's about the time that like Superman's like, I gotta go find out more about this. And so he like takes off and heads for the Fortress of Solitude. By the way, this page here was like so out of left field. We're like, Maggie, sorry, like, everyone on that page is really written out of character.
Whoa,
like
weird.
Almost like someone else took over for a hot second and just was just like, wouldn't it be funny if this happened?
Yeah.
I know it doesn't make any sense for the character, but let's just do it anyway.
And
I'm like, what?
Yeah, what? It's very, that whole book is what?
Very bizarre. So he goes to...
He goes to the fortress, and then Rogol Zar pisses him off, so he uses his New 52 solar flare power.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
I wasn't certain if that was something that Zar did or not.
No, it's something that Superman's doing. So, we are going to destroy Kandor, we're going to destroy the Fortress of Solitude, we're going to bring back the New 52 Superman power.
Yeah.
The thing that we like threw away when we did the DC Rebirth thing. Everything you liked about DC Rebirth, we are going to put away. And we're going to remind you of the things you didn't like about New 52 Superman.
It's really...
which, by the way, a lot of people were excited about. I know a lot of people were like, yay, the solar flare's back. And I was like, meh. By the way, if you're not familiar with the solar flare, he can take all the solar radiation in his cells and expel them into a big solar flare. And then he has no powers for 24 hours. Now, because it's Bendis, it could be that it's exactly the same thing as Solar Flare, only there's no more power dampening for the 24 hours because Bendis doesn't read comics.
Right.
So, who knows?
Yeah.
But people like the flare. They love that power. They were like, "Yay!" And I remember there was a big stupid article about it in the newspaper about how Superman has a new power and he can Dragon Ball Z explode. So
well, there you go. And also in the last issue, I should note, I think the reason probably people enjoyed it so much is it was what Bendis does best. There was a lot of conversations, but Batman was there.
Batman was in it, and he was cool.
He was fun. I was just like, wow,
that's what I wanted.
I enjoyed that because it's just Superman's I can't be a detective. I tried.
I know one. I'm just going to call him and he's going to show up.
He's the world's greatest.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to talk about that issue, but that was really fun. Superman and Batman working together is something I really like to see.
Yes.
Apparently a lot of people like to see it because it's been a series before and it was very popular.
Yes, and I really, truly enjoy, I love dark, brooding Batman, certainly, but I also like snarky, fun Batman. So, when Superman bails on Batman and the
firefighter?
Yeah, or the fire
romantic interest?
Yeah. And
and she goes, "Hey, did he just leave?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Yeah, but when the world's most polite man
leaves without saying goodbye, it's important.
Yeah, he's got to be somewhere.
That was really cool.
I was like, that's really fun, and the fact that Superman is already in that book, at least, or in that issue, planning that if he fails to defeat whatever it is that is there because he doesn't know it's Rogol Zar yet, that he's going to let Batman go because Batman would have to summon the Justice League.
Right. Which
I was like, that's cool. But wouldn't it also be kind of fun to just have Batman there?
Yes.
To help you?
And I'd heard a rumor that was what this book was going to be. It was going to be that Man of Steel was going to be a team-up book. That every issue, and of course he delivered, every issue is going to have another character, another member of Superman's friends gallery. So Green Lantern showed up in this one. Batman showed up in the last one.
Yeah.
I guarantee you Wonder Woman will be in one of the next ones.
Right.
Supergirl's in it.
Well, here's the thing. That's where Supergirl should have gone to get Wonder Woman.
Yes.
And if he does do the solar flare and he does have it where he doesn't have powers, maybe she'll show up.
No
and,
doubt.
Fight off Zar until they can get.
And Rogol Zar, if he fought Wonder Woman, would just be beheaded within a few minutes because Rogol Zar's lame and Wonder Woman's cool.
Yeah. Also, Superman seems to think that Rogol Zar's power is associated with his weapon.
Yes. Yeah. Which is we're not talking about Terminus here, where it's oh, the power's in my staff. We're gonna do that now.
I
gotta separate him from his staff. Maybe his staff's a Horcrux, and we have to kill the staff.
You're gonna need the sword of Gryffindor then.
Yeah. Anyway, Man of Steel #4 is out.
Can you recommend it?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to know what happens in Superman, I said this in the last one. If you want to know what happens in Superman, you got to read this book. But it's really silly, and I'm not really a big fan.
I would say trade weight on this one.
Big time.
I think just trade weight. It's not worth.
I would trade wait for the reviews of the entire thing, and then decide if you want to buy the trade.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, the cost of this book for the page number you're getting isn't quite what I would hope for.
Yeah.
Regardless of it having wait, is this the one that has the backups for the Titans, or is that Justice League?
I think they all have them.
All right, I don't know. But I'm just saying, it's just I don't know.
Yeah.
Wait, I would wait if you're not already reading it. Wait, if you're into it, keep going.
Totally.
We're almost to the end.
We're almost done. Talon134 saying, do you think Superman was a bad choice for Bendis? Well, if you're not familiar, Bendis chose Superman. Bendis wanted Superman, and that was part of the thing that got Bendis over to DC. Was he was like, I want Superman.
Yeah.
Actual and whole, stem to stern, I want all of Superman.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, done. So it wasn't so much that they were like, oh, what would be great for Superman? Brian Michael Bendis.
Right.
Crime novelist. And noir story.
I think if he were doing one book of Superman.
Not all of them? Yeah.
I think that would be a better choice because it would force him to have to play with others. Because the DC books...
Would he though? I mean, because he never did.
I'd like to think so.
I don't know. Other people had to play with him.
Yeah.
He would make things happen and then people would be like, I guess I gotta do this now.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know if he's a good choice for being the entire architect behind all of Superman right now.
No, I think I don't think he had enough planning. I don't think he had enough prep.
Yeah.
And I don't need. Here's the thing, Bendis. I've read DC Nation. Mm-hmm. He did a backup in Action Comics 1000.
Yeah.
And then 4 issues of Man of Steel.
Yeah.
So 6 issues, maybe more, of Bendis Superman, and I'm still not sure if I like it.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what it is at this point.
Right. I needed 1 issue of Tanasi on Superman. And I was sold.
Right. Well, and I gotta tell you, doing the setup that he did, instead of giving us here's a baseline of what Superman's going to be like, now here's a crazy villain.
Right.
I think that's a mistake.
Oh.
Because I don't know where you're coming from with this character.
Yeah, we didn't.
Right now.
But we did have that fun fight with him and another Toyman. So
But he changed so much before issue 1 even came out.
But you got those Fabric pages, and they're 1/100th of a mystery.
I'm just. That's just my opinion.
I agree. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's jump into the last book that we're reviewing for this week.
Wait,
I'm
got
sorry,
2.
the second to last book.
Which one do you want to do first?
I guess talk about X-Men Gold. I did not. I read some of this. I didn't get a chance to finish it, but I did read the page that made me go what the crap.
I did read this. I read it simply because of what I knew was happening at the end of this, and I had but I had read the Rogue and Gambit mini that came out,
which apparently was really good.
Spectacular. I truly enjoyed that, regardless of that crazy wacky ending. I really, really liked that.
I hear
book.
people really want you to do it on back issues.
I would love to do that book because I had legitimately good time. Good time had by me.
Just a fun book.
Just a fun a mini from Marvel, and it was fantastic.
And with continuity and stuff.
So X-Men Gold, written by, I wrote it down here, Mark Guggenheim with art by David Marquez. The book's gorgeous to look at. Let's just flat out say that. It is a treat for the eyes. Visually, truly enjoyed checking this whole thing out.
Yeah.
There's some amazing images of each of the X-Men. In particular, Storm. There's this great one of her in a dress, or in her I'm going to the wedding.
Yes.
And changing the weather, much like she does
in X-Men 30, by the way.
Yes.
X-Men Gold number 30 and X-Men number 30 was the one where what's it called? Jean and Scott got married.
Exactly, but similar idea there. So this is it. This is the wedding day. Actually, it starts a little before that. And we actually get a in the past, years ago, and it's a conversation between Peter and Kitty, and essentially how he is in love with, or he was in love with another alien.
Oh no, Zsazi or whatever from the Secret Wars planet. Yay!
He says she was a native of the planet that Beyonder created.
Yeah, she made him fall in love with her. It wasn't actual love.
He's
that's awesome.
So and that
yeah, she died for him.
Well, yes, exactly. And that he's basically, it's that conversation where it's just and I'll always kind of be in love with her.
Right. I'll never let go of her.
Yeah.
Well, because she gave her life force to make me alive. So,
right. Yes. That's very much it. And that he's only calling her Kitty. He doesn't call her Katya there at that point. And it's basically, it's sowing the seeds of doubt.
Right.
And in Kitty's mind in a sense. And then it's the day of, and the two of them are looking upon the whole tent and the whole ceremony space where it's all being set up and just all that jazz. And
who's paying for this, by the way?
The X-Men.
You know what I mean? You I got Professor X paying for it, but he ain't here no more.
Right? I don't know. Kitty?
Right?
Talon
134, any chance of a Descender back issues? Great book. No.
No, but maybe we can do something else with it.
Yeah, we'll cover it in some way.
Because that book is also gorgeous. Talk about beautiful art. I love watercolors, and Dustin Union is at the top of his game.
We have a great Mr. Freeze print of his, which is amazing.
do. I actually have a little art book of his, and I love looking at that just for artistic and creative inspiration.
Right.
Just so wonderful.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Colossus is very much in love with her, and he's being kind of weird, but he's just I think he's just taking it all in. He's having that, he's oh my gosh, I'm about to marry the woman that I love, and just it's lovely. And she has thoughts that mimic the earlier conversation that they had, where how he spoke of what's her face,
Zsazi,
about in a way with poetry and such, and now he's doing it for her, and just isn't that lovely?
And she's
No, she thinks that that's nice.
Oh,
and then we go to basically the rehearsal dinner, which is the rehearsal dinner is just everybody's there. Anyone who's going to the wedding is there.
Cool.
It seems like. In fact, there are 2 Jean Greys and Rachel Summers.
Yes, I saw that sequence, which was hilarious.
It's cute,
where,
right?
old Jean is giving young Jean a problem about drinking, and she's
yeah, shouldn't you be giving Rachel a hard time if you're going to act like a mom to someone?
Right. Ugh.
And Rachel's
that should have made old Jean Phoenix out.
Right?
Because Phoenix is a real problem.
I Phoenix out. That's the way she leaves.
She's just free. Yeah, Phoenix out.
And Peter shows Storm that he has this painting that he did of the two of them that's hanging in their honeymoon suite that he's gonna give it to Kitty. She hasn't seen it yet. And, won't that be lovely?
Yes.
And then we see Rogue and Gambit are hanging out there, and he makes a joke about how wedding excitement makes you think romantic thoughts, and she's just I was in your head I know what you're thinking about. You're thinking about the honeymoon.
Right. And he's like, oh.
And then there's like the little asterisk where it's just like, check out Robin Garrett.
Check out that book if you know when.
And I'm like, dude, you totally should. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But Lockheed shows up and he brings this little Lockheed family.
Yeah.
Like Lockheed found a mate and had little baby dragons.
That's adorable.
So she, brought them all out. I was like, that's cute. There are a lot of cute things that happen in this.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm. So then Ileana shows up and she has a bottle of champagne, or what looks like champagne. And she and Kitty go up to like the roof of the restaurant that they're at, bar, whatever. Mm-hmm. And like she gets Kitty drunk, and she gets is drinking herself, and like she's acting weird. And Kitty's like, "What's up? You're not speaking your mind."
Yeah.
And she's just like, "Here's the thing, I don't think you two should get married." Mm-hmm. And Kitty's like, "What?" She's just like, "It's just you've been together for so long, and like I'm just saying, if it was supposed to happen, it would have happened already."
Well, it's happening right now, though.
But like it didn't, and like you've been through both have been through a lot, and like. And she's like, to be fair, for like a while, like I was trapped in a bullet and like he was dead.
I've been busy. Exactly.
And she's just like, I'm just saying, like if you were meant to be together, it would have happened by now. And like I'm a terrible person for saying this, but like meh.
That feels really
and then,
like out of left
Ileana's
field.
just like, you know what? Never mind. Let's pretend like that didn't happen. Hug.
They were friends.
And they hug, and that's it.
Okay.
But you can see on Kitty's face that it's just like
that penetrated her. That got her like.
Like why would you say that?
Right.
But like.
Well, because Ileana's kind of a bad person.
Yeah. Yeah.
She didn't used to be, by the way.
So then, like, we see them getting ready the day of, and, like, Kurt's doing Colossus's bow tie.
There was a bow tie scene in X-Men 30, as you know.
Right. Kurt's his best man.
Aw.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah.
Back when I was a little kid, those were my two favorite X-Men.
Aw, that's adorable. So, yeah, he's his best man. And Ileana's her maid of honor, by the way.
Oh, that's nice.
So, classic.
Not anymore.
Classic.
Jubilee, you're in.
Right? Ileana, you out.
Go back to purgatory.
Phoenix out.
Yeah, Phoenix out.
And then we see Kitty getting ready, and she's there with Stevie and her mom and Storm, and she realizes that she's there with these three women who basically raised her.
Yes.
And they all have a little hug, and isn't that lovely and stuff like that. And like Kitty seems totally fine. Mm-hmm. Right? And then like, but she's not.
Yeah.
And Wolverine shows up too for a second.
Yeah. Does
Except
he talk to anybody or see anybody?
He also doesn't fight
Sabretooth or right in the snow. Like, don't even think about it.
No. There's no reason to worry about that because like we already established what the like possible problem is going to be, right?
Yeah.
So Rogue and Ileana have a little conversation, and like Ileana's like, I think I might have really ruined the wedding. And Rogue's like, it'll be fine because she doesn't know what she said. She just assumes that like she's being dumb. I don't know. So the wedding starts.
Yes.
And, Kurt forgets the ring, so he bamfs out and he goes and gets them.
So we got to see some powers being used in this freaking book.
Right.
It's an X-Men book. Let's do it.
So then Kitty walks down the aisle, and she's beautiful, and, like, they say their vows to each other, and, like, they, the rabbi who's there does a decent job of summing up their past.
Oh, cool. As opposed to, I don't know these people, but I can speak intimately about who they are.
Right. Well, she says, like, even when they're parted by circumstances or other people or even death itself, like, it's cute. Like, she's like, you're mutants. I got it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's X-Men.
We're going to actually do that
There's
kind of thing.
There's some continuity.
So they say their vows and about how, like, their vows are nice for them, I suppose. And that, like, like, Kitty will always find her way back to him and that sort of thing. And she puts the ring on him, and he goes to put the ring on her, and it phases through her hand. Mm-hmm. And, like, essentially she couldn't control her phasing. And instead of being like, I'm sorry, I got nervous, she just says, I can't, and then sinks into the ground and leaves. And Pietro's like,
cool. Yeah.
Kurt, get me out of here. I can't.
Right, bamf me out of here.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he does. Like, Kurt is the best man.
Yes, best man. Hooah!
Yeah.
And they are right in the strip joint.
Like, literally, it's as though he's...
Called the Secret Wars.
Called the Rebounds.
Yeah, the Rebounds.
Yeah, so, essentially, we see Ileana, like, covering her mouth, like, with, like...
Ooh, I better get out of here before
you think
somebody...
it's because of me?
Probably, yeah. Although, that being said, like, if some, like, idiot saying, like, hey, your marriage shouldn't work because, like, I think it shouldn't, and that's enough to make you, like, not have a marriage, then, like, yeah, you shouldn't be married because, like, you're a moron who can be, like, influenced by other people for no reason.
Like, so then, basically, they, the rest of the wedding party, like, happens, like, they decide to just go and eat the food because they kind of, like...
you're not gonna get your wedding insurance that way.
I don't think they have any. So they go and they drink and they eat and stuff like that.
Wolverine's like, hey, I'm back and I'm gonna drink all your booze, open bar.
Right, Ileana's like, this is all my fault. I'm just like, if you could just not make it about you for like 5 seconds, That would be awesome.
Yeah.
So then, like, Peter knows exactly where Kitty would go, and, like, they have a conversation, and, like, she's just like, you know, like, I know I said I couldn't marry you, but, like, you know, I need to be able to figure this whole thing out because, you know, at the end of the day, like, everything that's happened, it's so crazy, and that, like, maybe we're not meant to be together, and blah, 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 and, like, what kind of foundation is this for us to build our marriage on? And he's just like, the marriage is the foundation. What are you talking about?
Right. That's fair. Good point.
What are you talking about?
Right.
And he's just like, do you love me? And she's like, with all of my soul, but, like, I don't know. I don't know if this is what we should do. Like, you know, and like, basically they leave it off with, and where does this leave us?
Like, nowhere.
And I'm like,
who told you what to do?
What was the point of doing this book other than because you hit 30 and it was your finale? You're like, oh, we gotta do something crazy.
Well,
Let's
also, like,
ruin their relationship for no reason.
And Batman's getting married around the same week, so we gotta, like, do something.
Don't forget, she asked him to marry him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, also, the marriage kind of came out of left field anyway.
Yeah, and it's like, I get it. Like, you know what I mean? She's more of like a logical, like, you know, pros and cons list.
She's
kind
not.
Of person. That's what they're trying to almost make.
But we know she isn't.
But, like, it's just kind of like, it's so out of left field to get the twist at the end of this book that it's just like, this was such, I'm sorry, this is an unsatisfying book for me.
Right.
So, back at the party, Storm and Kurt and Gambit are all talking. They're just sitting at the table, just being like, I can't believe this happened. Like,
I know.
This is so, like, crazy. Like, how could they, like, they seem perfect for each other, and, like, how could it not happen? And, like, you know, Storm basically is the sage here in a sense, which is so funny, her talking about marriage.
Right, like, what do you know? Like, you got annulled for killing your own people in Wakanda, you jackass.
Got kicked out of your country, basically, that you inherited in a sense.
Yeah.
And that she says that love's hard work and all that stuff, and it requires a certain hunger, and that, like, it's that feeling that, like, you would rather not live than go on a day without them. Yeah. And Gambit just goes, done!
Yeah.
Done! And he just gets up and he straightens his tie and he sees Rogue over at the bar and he just proposes to her. Right there and then. And he's just like, and let's just do it right now. We got everything right. Which is just like, cool. I hope you never actually wanted your own thing.
Yeah, I hope you didn't want, like, a big issue dedicated to your wedding. Because...
Yeah, or to actually have your own wedding dress or anything like that.
Yeah, no.
Nope. So Kitty and Colossus show back up and the two of them get married.
Yeah. I heard about that.
Yeah, and their vows are fine. Like, they you know...
And I assume Kitty isn't there?
No, they're both there. They're both sitting right up front like,
this is nice, see?
Look what we did. By us not getting married.
We forced two other people to feel like they needed to get married.
It totally worked. Isn't that awesome?
But that sucks.
Yeah. So, then, basically, like, they're, again, like, Remy does a very nice job of going, like, my promises aren't worth anything. Right. So I'm just going to affirm for you everything that I feel about you, which I appreciate. Like, he knows himself this well.
Yeah, that's cool.
And like, yeah, and then they get married and that's it. And their adventures will be continued in Mr. and Mrs. X.
Yes.
Written by Kelly Thompson. It's like I think it's like a 3-issue miniseries. Yeah. So, I don't know. This didn't fit for me at all. Right. Like, this was not, like, I was expecting... I don't know. I wasn't expecting this. It felt like it was rushed and yeah, just not great. And it's terrible because it looks great. It looks really wonderful. Yeah. Like, the book itself, I'm just like, wow.
David Marquez is amazing.
This is a pretty book.
Yes.
But
it's always the case. Whenever David Marquez draws something that sucks, like Civil War 2, it was like, oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. That was X-Men Gold number 30, the finale of X-Men Gold, but just a little too gimmicky.
Yeah, I agree. That's fair. Yeah. But I'm excited to see how Mr. and Mrs. X go.
Yeah.
I assume it'll end in divorce because that's the X-Men.
Right? Well, here's what's really funny, too. They got married in front of, like, their friends and stuff like that. They don't have any of the paperwork for it. They're not married.
Yeah, no. Like, what?
Like, legally, they're not married. Yeah. Like, there's nothing that set that up. In fact, Kitty and Colossus are technically married because they had the marriage license before they got married.
Right, so
now they gotta deal with that.
Yeah, herp.
Reality.
Yeah. No. Well, anyway, that sucks.
It does suck, but again, very lovely to look at. And if you'd rather read a better, stronger book about, like, X relationships, do go pick up the Rogue and Gambit mini. I think it's out in trade now. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of fun.
Pick that up. And finally, no recommendations there. Amazing Spider-Man 801 came out.
Yes. Now, I wanted to read that, and I just didn't get a chance to, so tell me about it.
All right. It's just it's Dan Slott's last Spider-Man issue for now, because he's not like he left Marvel. He's not gonna stop. Like,
well, he should go get some Image books.
Yeah, I don't think he has.
The right Arachnid guy.
Right. Yeah. He's writing Iron Man and he's writing Fantastic Four. I also read Tony Stark Iron Man #1, which is, by the way, not bad. I really dug it. Like, I enjoy the hell out of it.
I just like that. It's not bad.
It's not bad. Well, it didn't blow the doors off of the character or anything, but like it was also kind of fun to read, and I enjoyed it. Right. That's all I can say about that. But like Amazing 801, it was just Dan Slott basically saying goodbye without any bullshit continuity that he created himself, which he's guilty of.
Right. Okay.
Where he's like, hey, you know what's amazing? What I did. You know what's also amazing? Dr. Octopus. Let's put as much Dr. Octopus into my series as possible. He's written 3 100 issues of Spider-Man, and each one has Dr. Octopus as the villain in it.
I stand by that. My reasoning, his affection for Dr. Octopus is because he kind of looks like him.
Yeah, there's no question that he looks like him. That's also why he also like used cloning to make himself hot. Brevin Campbell 12, are y'all going to review Rogue and Gambit? Yeah.
I can review it right now. It was great. It is a high-flying, fun adventure that delves into an interesting, fun storyline, but also talks about the history and, like, romance and relationship between two very romantically tension-based characters within the X-Men.
They've had 20 years of will they, won't they.
Yeah, it makes a lot of callbacks to old continuity. So for those of you who are heavy into X-Men and continuity, you might appreciate that. And for those who aren't, you'll appreciate getting to know them a little bit more so.
Yeah. Amazing 801, written by Dan Slott with art by Marcos Martin, is a one-shot. It's done in one. It's a little story that kind of like reinforces why Dan Slott likes Spider-Man, or at least that's his justification for why he's always liked Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. And it's told through the framing device of like a dude who once was saved by Spider-Man, like at the infancy of Spider-Man's career.
Okay.
Dude gets a call from the hospital, his father's going to die, and his family calls him up, and they're like, you got to be here, it's time.
Okay.
And so he goes he goes to a corner store to get some cigarettes, and it's being held up. And he's like, I gotta go. I don't have time for this. Which is like, if you've ever been in that situation, like, you know, not that situation specifically, but like the situation of like, I have a very finite amount of time, and I don't. Oh yeah.
Well, in that type of situation, I'd say like you're like, because some people might be like, oh, how could you just be like, I'm just gonna go? Like, you're in the middle of a robbery, and
right? But it's like you're not thinking rationally.
You're not thinking. You're like, but I do have to go, and like whatever you're doing here literally means nothing.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So he's trying to leave. The burglar won't let him, and then Spider-Man just smashes through the window in this beautifully rendered image of Marcos Martin's Spider-Man, young Spider-Man. He beats the robber, and then the dude that gets to go away, like he goes and he's late, but he makes it in time to say goodbye to his father.
That's nice.
His sister, and then we see this guy like grow up or like get older, and his sister has kids, and he has a big influence on his family's life, and like he at one point, we see him with his niece, and Spider-Man shows up, and he's going to stop somebody, and the dude helps him out. Mm-hmm. And he's like, and Spider-Man's like, oh, thanks for the assist. And the guy's like, I'm waiting like 20 years, or 5 years, 10 years to like to help you. And Spider-Man's like, okay, cool. I don't know who you are. Bye. And Spider-Man leaves, and the kid is like, what? Like, who cares? Like, I wish it was somebody cool, like Captain Marvel or or the Avengers. Okay. And he's like, Spider-Man's the coolest because he saved me. And she's like, wow, like, I guess it's cool that Spider-Man is like was around to save my uncle. And he's like, yeah, Spider-Man saves everybody's uncles. And you're like, ugh.
That's really nice.
And so it's just a nice little story about the influence that Spider-Man has on regular people.
Yeah.
And we see how like Spider-Man can his like, yes, there's Spider Islands and Secret Wars and other like cosmic bullshit, and he's been an Avenger for longer than like, than any other team affiliation, but like at the end of the day, Spider-Man saves regular people.
Yeah. And
that's really cool. It was really solid, and like it was everything that I like about Spider-Man, and everything that I remember like praising Dan Slott for when he first jumped on board. Mm-hmm. I was like, you get it. I remember talking to him, and I was like, you get it.
Right.
And so he eventually like ran through all that good faith, but like he gets it.
Yeah.
He still clearly gets it.
Yeah.
And maybe this was sitting in a drawer for a bunch of years, or maybe he was like or maybe he just poured every bit of himself into it. But it's just such a beautiful little story.
Yeah.
And it's so well put together that you've got to read it.
Right, and I think that's what a lot of the Spider-Man runs and stories lately have been missing are the small, quiet stories. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, you know, Spider-Man can certainly do great and amazing things.
Yeah.
But they're only great and amazing if he's also doing the everyday.
Right.
Because to someone else, that is great and amazing. Like this guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, to anyone else, it's just, oh, he stopped a robbery. Cool. But to that guy, he made all the difference.
You saved my life. Yeah, like, I'm now, like...
Well, not just you saved my life, but, like, I got a chance that was going to be gone.
Yes,
because
exactly.
of this one mistake I made. And you fixed all of that. And it's like, you need that not only to show the growth of Spider-Man as a character.
Right.
And just the, like, he doesn't even think about it. Like, he doesn't remember that guy because he's just like, I was just doing my job.
Yeah.
And not like in a negative way.
Right, no. Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man number 306 comes out. This was a weird series.
Okay.
It mostly had to do with Spider-Man going back in time and, like, creating an alternate reality that's totally screwed up. And
so
it was...
Kang's not involved?
No, it's Dr. Doom's Time Machine.
Fine.
It was really fun. And I was like, this is cool. Not really cool, but, like, kind of cool. You know, like, I saw what he was doing, and he's doing his own thing. And I respected it. It didn't break the rules of his own story, and I'm like, you know what? And Zdarsky's Marvel 2-in-1 is so good that I'm like, I have to think about this in another way.
Okay.
So, like, this is a different story, by the way. It's not, if you don't like time travel, Amazing 306, or I'm sorry, Peter Parker Spectacular 306 is about Spider-Man dealing with, like, an artificial intelligence and trying to save the whole world from being killed by some, like, rogue alien artificial intelligence.
All right.
So, like, whatever, it's fun.
Yeah.
But if you want to know what it's like to read Zdarsky Spectacular, read the last arc, because that's pretty not bad. By the way, recommendations, continuing, Jeff Lemire's writing The Sentry.
Ooh,
and so Sentry number 1 comes out this week, and, like, I've got to read it. Because Jeff Lemire's doing The Sentry, and that sounds crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Avengers No Surrender comes out in hardcover, so I've got to go pick it up so we can do it on back issues.
Definitely.
One of the best Marvel events in the last 3 years. Whenever Secret Wars came out, after that, No Surrender was one of the best ones. And Marvel 2-in-1 number 7. This is the most quintessentially Spider-Man, the most quintessentially Marvel comic you could possibly read. If you love Marvel, if you have loved Marvel, if you don't like Marvel now, go read Marvel 2-in-1 issues 1 through 7. And 7 comes out this week. Pick up this series. It's so good, and it's Zdarsky doing it. Yeah. And it's not, like, annoying, like his Howard the Duck was for me.
You just don't like that character, though. So
no, I don't.
To be fair, that's kind of...
Yeah.
You'd already, like...
it's not for me, but Marvel 2-in-1 is. And it is for you, and especially the last arc. I think we're pretty much doing a new arc after 7. So, like, but you got to read the series because it's so damn good.
Sounds awesome.
So, yeah, those are recommendations.
Cool.
For me. Okay. And you've got a couple other ones as well?
Yeah.
I'm going to stand up for a second. This stool is driving me crazy.
Oh, it's just me by myself. Hey, guys.
I'm just going to leave.
Oh, I see. It's no surprise. Saga number 53 comes out. If you've been keeping up with Saga, we're, in the midst of the next arc.
Do you love the description for this series or for this issue?
Yeah.
It just says, uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of just... They get to write these things because every time they say, "Oh," I'm like, "Oh, please don't."
Oh no,
I can't take it in my core.
Yeah.
Written by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. It took everything I had not to say. Yeah, that they stuck with this team.
That, like, Fiona Staples was never replaced.
Yeah. Well, she has a lot of creative control with him. So, like, they've built the world together. And I think that's, like, one of those opportunities that's, like, how could you leave this? Because it's not like she's drawing the same character. I mean, she does draw the same character. Well, it's also
not like she's doing all these other books. Like,
no, it's true.
Just keep doing Saga.
But, yeah, I think creatively it's very enriching for her.
Oh, agreed.
And the other thing, this has come out in several different versions already. But if you're a fan of the DC Absolute edition format, which is the hardcover with the slip cover, has all the supplemental material in it. Sandman Overture is coming out, so you can go and check that out. That was another Neil Gaiman Sandman story that came out, I want to say like 2015?
I don't remember. I feel like it was recent, but not like too recent.
No. It's just, it was kind of a continuation in a sense, spiritual or otherwise, of his stories. So, if you read all of Sandman and somehow missed this, go check it out, especially if you're really big into the DC Absolute Edition format, because it is lovely.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lovely format.
have Court of Owls in Absolute.
Yeah,
and it's
lovely,
great.
lovely. So check it out.
LKM Cherokee saying, I won't kill you, but I don't have to save you. Thank you very much. I don't have to save you. There's a whole episode of Packages coming out this week that will be like making that joke.
Right.
So hopefully you can strap in for that. So I think we covered all the super chats, and I think we covered the books that are coming out this week.
I think so.
I forgot to review this, so I will now. Avengers #3 came out.
Oh,
written by Jason Aaron with art by Ed McGuinness. Continuing the final host, the Dark Celestials and crap.
Okay.
It's fine. It's fun.
Okay.
Like, it's playing off of the ideas that Aaron set up in Marvel 1,000,000.
Okay.
We're seeing how, what's his name? Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider fits in on the Avengers.
Okay.
He's not yet. No one is declaring to the Avengers yet.
Right.
But it's just kind of like a fun book. Like it is so weird and silly, and I don't know if I'm huge into it, but I don't hate it.
Right.
And I think it's pretty well put together. If you love Robbie Reyes and you loved the old series, you're not going to like this because it's just straight up not him. Like it's what Jason Aaron thinks Robbie Reyes is. Okay. Like the car is sentient and it's not, and he can go to hell, and like none of these are connected. Like and like the Spirit of Vengeance is not the Ghost Rider that Robbie Reyes is.
No, I mean that's funny because that was also featured in Damnation.
Yeah,
like, he's one of the Ghost Riders or one of the Spirits of Vengeance that show up and beat the hell out of Mephisto.
Right.
So it's like, okie dokie.
Okay, well, that's not correct, but fine, because Jason Aaron's like one of the top 3 writers at Marvel now, so it's not like they're going to piss him off.
Right,
unless he go to DC.
Right, unless they're doing something there, because it's weird that, like, because Aaron had nothing to do with Damnation.
No.
So it's weird that was also there.
Yeah.
So maybe they're changing up Reyes.
Well, the fact that like Reyes was featured in Damnation and is also a huge player in
featured.
Avengers.
He just was in this like one image. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Well, and that could literally just be Hopeless being like, I don't know. I'm sorry. It was Kate's. Yeah, Kate's being like,
Kate's
I don't know.
and
just
Nick Spencer.
Nick Spencer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is a book that is coming out that is I think I like Justice League a little more. But,
wow.
Which I didn't before. I like when I read the first issues of both. I think I liked Avengers more than Justice League, but I think I'm switching on them. But that, of course, Jorge Jimenez's art. I dig Ed McGuinness's work, but it's not on the same level. But it's fun. You know, I'm enjoying it. I want to like it more than I am, and I think it's because I got pulled into the Avengers thanks to New Avengers. I like street level Avengers, and this is just more of like the Trinity and them and seeing how they work together. We are setting up Loki to be a big bad, and we're setting up this big Asgardian event that they're going to be doing. Again, I don't care about any of those things, so it's like, okay, well, we'll see how that goes. But I also was not a huge fan of the last era of the Avengers, so this is a good step in the right direction. And I do know that Aaron can stick the landing with these kinds of things, so I hope it works out.
Yeah, me too.
I'm hopeful for it.
Yeah.
But so there you have it. What else is happening today that people should be tuning in for?
Right. Well, it kind of got late on us, but we're still going to be streaming some Batman. I just checked the poll.
Yeah.
And it did not go the way I thought it was going to go.
No.
Telltale Batman won.
Wow.
I'm going to be streaming over on Twitch in just a little bit. Yeah, no, Lego Batman 2 was like dominating.
Yes.
And then like halfway through it just flipped.
The Telltalers came.
So I'm going to be playing some Telltale Batman. I haven't checked that out yet. I know Sal has.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to being Batman. And
making choices.
And having people remember those choices.
Yeah.
Alpha, remember that you didn't eat that soup.
Yeah, and he will be very sad.
Yeah.
But if you want to get in on the streaming, we will be doing that over on twitch.tv/ComicPOP.TV.
Yes.
There are lots of like links down below these videos, so you can find them there. But join us for the stream. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Let's do it.
So yeah, we'll see you guys then. Thanks a lot for watching this episode Off the Rack, and we'll see you there next time. I'm Sal.
I'm Tiffany.
Thanks for watching.